There are fears that Trump's support for Farage's Reform Party could disrupt the general election. I'm going to read into this exclusive from iNews, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an exclusive from iNews with the headline of fears that Trump's support for Farage's Reform Party could disrupt the general election. The exclusive reveals that MPs voiced their concerns about potential intervention by Trump before the general election, but Farage's Reform Party could suffer from his support. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit that like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. So before I read the article, I just want to think, there's a couple of things I obviously just want to make absolutely clear here, and some of you may agree to disagree with me on this, but I generally believe that no matter what Donald Trump says with regards to the UK general elections, it will not, in my opinion, make a shed of difference whatsoever. I generally believe that the vast majority of the British public in all four nations don't care what Trump says, and probably don't take anything that he says seriously either. There may be some super hardcore Trump supporters here in the UK, but I would say the vast majority are not interested in what he has to say, if I'm absolutely honest. Now, in contrast, when Obama spoke in the 2016 Brexit referendum, I actually believe that it was wrong for the US president at the time to actually intervene and comment on it. It was not right for him to do so, and while I understand that he was obviously wanting the UK to stay within the EU for the benefits of it, and I agreed with Obama, it wasn't right for him to speak on the referendum on it. Just like it's really common courtesy for politicians not really to comment on a specific election, but this is Donald Trump. He's not a normal person. He's not somebody who cares about consequences. This man is already facing lots of lengthy legal challenges and courts and whatnot, and he's already got a massive bill in front of him from things that he said about Jean Carroll, and he's said things about her allegedly again, which means that she could, in theory, sue Trump for even more money. I think he's already owes her like $80 million or something for the damage that's been caused, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's going to look to try and weasel his way out of paying that money in any way, shape, or form at this point. And it's crazy. It's crazy that he is so disconnected and so disregarding of laws over there. Which is why I also think that no matter what he says about the UK general elections, it's not really going to move the numbers. It's not really going to move the polls. And with regards to polls, by the way, because I know obviously people are very sceptical about polls, which is totally understandable, which is why I always, whenever I talk about it's not just what polls are saying, it's what people on the ground are saying. When I see what I hear from people, what I see from people, and what politicians, journalists, and YouTubers on the ground talking to actual people and what they're actually saying about it, that people here want a general election, and they want it now. They don't want it later. They want it today. They want it yesterday. They don't want it a week, a month, a year in January, late January. They want it now. That's what we want. We want that general election now. Now, as far as the Reform Party goes, now at the time of this recording, it's still Richard Tice is going to be its leader. I don't think Nigel Farage is going to step in, even if the general election is called. I don't think Farage is going to step in, and if I'm absolutely honest, I don't think Reform need Nigel Farage because the Conservatives are giving Reform all the ammunition they need. And while I vehemently disagree with Reform Party, I don't like some of their policies. I don't like that they would impose even more austerity on people. But Reform voters turned a blind eye to that, so they're more than happy to. Reform supporters are more than happy to pay more for less with their pockets. They tell people exactly what they want to hear. And the actual reality is that they don't have any real influence within Parliament. They're not going to win any seats. because of our parliamentary system, which is why everyone is in agreement that we need proportional representation. But I just don't think Nigel Farage is going to take that role. But it could change. But potentially could change. Because he's obviously he's a shifter and he's looking to make more money, Nigel Farage, and he's obviously trying to get his hands into that American politics over there, which is what he's trying to do. But it's not to say that reform will play its part in this general election. There's no question about it. It will damage the Conservatives, which is why many people are expecting a Labour majority. But overall, I don't think Trump's going to make a difference, whatever he says. So let's read what he has to say here. So MPs and diplomats are worried that Donald Trump could try to influence the general election with reform, UK leaders hoping they will benefit. Conservative and Labour politicians both voiced their concerns after Mr. Trump's former National Security Advisor John Bolton told the Eye that US presidential candidate would not be afraid to interfere in this year's campaign. It's entirely possible he would say something and wouldn't care about the conventions of not interfering, John Bolton said in an interview. Yeah, he's not gonna care whatsoever, guys. Mr. Trump hailed the Reform Party's Honourable President Nigel Farage as a prophetic leader this week, saying he awaited the Brexit campaigners' next move. Sir Peter Westmacott, a former UK ambassador to the US, told the Eye, "I have often disagreed with John Bolton, but he knows Donald Trump's better than most, and we should heed his warnings. Trump prizes loyalty and application above all else, so it's quite possibly that he will speak out in support of Nigel Farage's party." A reform source says the party was confident Mr. Trump would be on their side because so many Conservative Labour MPs have been bloody rude about him. Well, I think to say that they've been rude about him, yeah, well, he has said some ridiculous things, Trump. So they said there's not much for him to engage with other than a shout out for Nigel and reform. If Nigel decides to come back, people forget that Trump lumps the UK and Nigel represents the aspect of Britain's that he likes. But Sir David Lingington, an ex-foreign minister, office minister with the Tories who now chairs of the defence think tank Rushki, said that reform may need to think carefully what they wish for. It might fire up the people that are going to vote for them anyway, but I don't think it's going to win them any new converts, he told the Eye. A Trump intervention here would probably be bad news for whoever he supported. Every opinion poll shows he's deeply unpopular in the UK. 7 out of 10 Britons have an unfavourable view of Donald Trump, according to a survey by Ipsos, most recent Friday. Now, I will say that the vast majority of people don't. My understanding is that the vast majority of people here in the UK don't like Donald Trump anyway, but there are a minority of people who do like him. I think that is one thing I would agree with. Graham String, the MP, a Labour member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, agreed that anyone seeking the Republicans' candidate support may find it backfires. When Barack Obama interfered in the Brexit referendum in 2016, it was counterproductive, he said. The gut reaction of most British people to intervene from foreigners, even from a friendly foreign power, however erratic Trump is, really to feel that they should keep their nose out. By another Tory foreign minister who asked to remain anonymous, said the UK's relationship with the US is more important now than ever. Whether we like it or not, what Trump thinks matters. In a video to address Mr. Farage's 60th birthday party this week, Mr. Trump said his nationalist ally was a historic figure. I know that the UK people, I wanted to do the Trump voice, but I'm not going to. People of the UK are grateful for your patriotism and service, Mr. Trump said. I very much look forward to watching you on your next move. It's going to be an interesting one. Reform Party is not projected to win any seats in the latest UK opinion polls, but its support is growing, and Tories are concerned that this is eating into their numbers. That's because you guys aren't going to do any. You guys are not doing anything about it. But you have a prime minister that's more concerned about his wallet than the people. Mr. Trump's supporters may argue that his British opponents are hypocrites, given that many of them disparage their candidate frequently and forcefully. However, Sir David said that notable how senior Labour figures such as foreign spokesperson David Lammy have stopped cascading Mr. Trump in case they need to work with him in office. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. This is why Labour have been kind of a lot toned down on it, because I think I covered a video on here or on Patreon a while ago about how they need to be ready for a potential Trump presidency again, and that would mean Labour and Keir Starmer would have to work with them, and obviously that would not be ideal. You have to be able to deal with the world as it is, not as you want it to be, said the Rushi chair. Fabric Hamilton, a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, said Mr. Trump should keep out of parliamentary democracy. People who cannot vote in UK elections should never be allowed to interfere with our vital democratic process, he said. It's important that the government reminds Trump of that fact, and he should attempt to intervene. Again, like I said, he's not going. He's going to say whatever he wants, and he don't care what the consequences of them are going to be. The US elections will be held on the 5th of November. The date of the UK vote is still being speculated, but Michael Gove, Level Secretary, predicted last week that the UK election might be called on the 14th of November or a week later. Sir Peter, who served in Washington from 2012 to 2016, was among several former ambassadors to warn of Mr. Trump's threat to UK in interviews with the Eye this year. He said that the impact of anything that Mr. Trump says or does may depend on whether the British election is held before or after the US ballots. I would hope that Trump's contempt for the rule of law, the truth, alliances and democratic processes would limit his appeal to British voters, Sir Peter added. Mr. Bolton also warned that the risk of the US withdrawing from NATO is very likely in the second Trump term. Mr. Hamilton said that the UK must do what it can to protect the most successful defensive alliance in history, and that Labour is committed to it remains unshakable regardless of whoever occupies the White House. Civil servants have repeatedly warned the Prime Minister of increasing its security risks from cyber warfare and electoral manipulation if the UK and US climax within days of each other. The political scientist Professor Ben Ainsworth has written that parallel elections could increase polarisation and create double the opportunity for hostile forces spreading misinformation. And that's a thing that I'm generally worried about as well, that Rishi Sunak may do it around that time as well. But just to add already what I've already said, guys, he can say whatever he likes, Donald Trump, but I and if he becomes president, God help us all, and I really do mean God help us all. I don't think it's good for America, and I don't think it's good for the world if he becomes president. Based on history, based on what he has said, based on the damage that he has caused. Now, do I think Joe Biden is what's best for America? Absolutely not. I think they need someone new and fresh, America. They really, really do. But they are stuck choosing between the two people. And I generally do wish that America votes, in my opinion, what I believe is in their best interest, and that is Joe Biden. I personally think they should have another opportunity to pick someone else, but they can't. So that is what they've got. As for here, I know that Sunak is a goner. It's just a case of when he's choosing to be a goner, because we never voted for him in any way, and he's doing policies and whatnots that the British public did not vote for as well. So our democratic rights are being taken away from us every day with not knowing the day of the general election. It's very, very frustrating, to say the least. But the clock is ticking on Sunak, and the sooner he's gone, the better. Do I trust Keir Starmer and Labour Party? No, of course not. And I think you'd be folly to say that you would trust Labour and a Labour government in any way, shape or form. However, I would take my chances with Labour than the Conservatives, that's for sure. After 14 years of them, I'm kind of done with them. Personally, if I could pick a political party that I know that's guaranteed power, I would pick Greens, me personally. But I know some people would personally vote for reform. Some people are staunch Labour supporters. Hell, even some of you actually think the Lib Dems would make a better government. But I would say each to their own on that. But yeah, we definitely need something different in Britain, and I think that's something we can all agree on. And it's certainly not the Conservatives anymore. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of Trump potentially commenting on the UK elections? Do you think it will have any effect whatsoever? Do you think he will say anything, or will it not matter? What do you guys honestly think about the possibility of Trump talking about it and his potential influence on the Reform Party? Let me know your thoughts and more in the comments section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me in the work I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.